All right, what is going on, everybody? I am back with the Philadelphia Eagles 2022 to 2023 schedule prediction video. So right off the bat, I'm going to say I'm going to make this as quick as possible. I'm really going to have to run down the schedule and go into depth about what kind of depth chart these guys have, and I really want to stick this particular record. I want to get this right. Like last year, I said 3-14. I was totally wrong. We made it to the playoffs. We were 9-18. We lost in the first round to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I knew was going to happen because we really didn't have a quarterback. But this year, I feel like we have a lot of potential. Even though I still don't like our quarterback position. We have Jalen Hurts starting. I think he's a bum. We have Gardner Minshew, and we have Carson Strong, who has a bad knee, but he's young. He has a cannon for an arm. But I guess we'll see what happens. I can't really predict these things. I'm going to try, but we're going to go right down the line. So the first game to open up the Philadelphia Eagles 2022-23 season will be against the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Now, I'm going to say right off the bat, I'm not going to go right into detail with this one. If we lose this game, this season's it's a bust. It's a complete bust. I feel like the Detroit Lions are a team where they never find their maximum potential out of what they get. They traded away Matt Stafford, who just won the Super Bowl, for Jared Goff. Jared Goff, let's be honest, he's not that great of a quarterback. They got a lot back for Matthew Stafford regardless, but it doesn't really matter if you're not going to win the Super Bowl. And the Detroit Lions will never win the Super Bowl in their history, well, as long as I'm alive. So pretty self-explanatory. The Philadelphia Eagles will win this game, and they'll start off 1-0. As the chat is pretty much... Let me see. Put my voice to bed. Waiting on Frank. Blah blah blah. And then just for the chat, I'm gonna hide the chat while I'm doing this so I could really nail it right on the head. So I'm gonna go 1-0 to start the season against the Detroit Lions. All right, second game up. Minnesota Vikings at home, Monday Night Football, right off the bat. Kind of a weird Monday Night Football game just because the Minnesota Vikings, we had their little bad blood against them in the NFC Championship game in 2018. And then they came back and beat us later on in that year. But other than that, other than us having our little beef with the fans that really didn't last all that long, it's not really a game where you put into prime time. I mean, you have Kirk Cousins versus Jalen Hurts. That quarterback matchup really isn't, that intriguing to me personally. But you know what? Maybe it's good for prime time since the fans will be riled up. It's the first game at home at the Link. So I guess it makes sense in that retrospect. But still kind of a weird Monday Night Football game. I think the Eagles can win this game. I'm not going to base the games off the quarterback yet. I think Kirk Cousins is extremely average, extremely mediocre. And I just feel like this is a game where our fans will get behind us. We'll be pumped up. Our roster is explosive. We we traded for AJ Brown. We'll have Miles Sanders coming back. We'll have Gainwell coming back in the second year. And we'll be ready to rock and roll. Devonta Smith, you name it. I feel like we have enough weapons this year to win games that we don't have to go back and forth with a great quarterback. Starting off right off the bat with Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins. Those are two very winnable games. You're not going to really hit into a wall right yet. So they're going to start off 2-0 pretty easily, in my opinion. So it's a 2-0 start. I know a lot of people thought I was going to be down to start the season, but I'm not. I mean, everyone knows I don't like Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is a bad NFL quarterback. But in these games in particular, we have such a great roster that you won't need him to step up right away. So that's pretty self-explanatory, 2-0. All right, so week 3, we're at the Washington Commanders against Carson Wentz. Now, to me, this is a tricky one. Because you're going against a team that has all these allegations against them. They just changed their name. We don't know how the fans are going to be when it comes to this early in the season. Now, are they going to be a lot more Eagles fans or are they going to be Commanders fans since it is early in the season? They did sign Carson Wentz. That should get them pumped up because Carson Wentz wants to prove everyone wrong and beat the team that drafted him. But here's the thing. The Philadelphia Eagles usually recently have come to these games to play. So I feel like we're going to split with this team. Now, is this a game where we're going to lose because we're 2-0, everything's flying high, and we have that one down game to start the year? I don't think so. I think we're going to go to Washington, and I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to beat Carson Wentz. and the Washington Commanders. I think we have a better roster than they do. I still think Carson Wentz is damaged goods. He's not the guy that we drafted in 2016. Not even close to that. The Indianapolis Colts gave up after him after 1 year. So I feel this is a game where the Philadelphia Eagles will come to play and they will win. Carson Wentz will have all the emotions facing his former team, and it won't be enough in the end. So I feel like the Eagles actually start off 3-0. I do. Now, we are against the Jacksonville Jaguars and Doug Peterson. Emotions will be riding high come week 4. Riding high completely. Doug Peterson coming to beat us. He's bringing his young football genius, in my opinion, in Trevor Lawrence. But here's another one where it's pretty self-explanatory. The Jacksonville Jaguars do not have the roster to contend with us, especially on the road. They don't. They're a very young, up-and-coming team. They're probably going to be great somewhere down the road. They're going to have a ton of draft picks, draft capital for the years to come, and they're going to build a squad over there. But unfortunately for them, they're just not ready to go right now. Now, Doug Peterson is a tremendous coach, especially for young talent, and he will help out Trevor Lawrence down the road, but not this year. So the Philadelphia Eagles, as shocking as it might be to some of you, I have the Philadelphia Eagles starting the season 4-0. And it is shocking because, like I said, I don't like Jalen Hurts. So how does all of this come into play for me? 4 weeks into the season, Jalen Hurts doesn't have to do much against these starting quarterbacks. The one starting quarterback that I see can give Jalen Hurts a problem when it comes to being a gunslinger, you have to go back and forth with him, believe it or not, is Carson Wentz. Because Carson Wentz, when his game is on, whenever it is on, he's a dynamic quarterback. And that's whenever his game's on. It's been a while, but he is a dynamic quarterback. And they have Terry McLaurin. They have all these young assets over there in Washington. They have a great defensive front. And that is a game where I feel like that could be a shootout and we could lose that game. But I called it a win already. So I feel the Philadelphia Eagles start off the season 4-0. I truly do, because Jalen Hurts hasn't been tested yet this season. Week 5 at the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray will play this game. This is the one game where I was actually looking on the schedule, and I saw at first where DeAndre Hopkins won't be able to play because he's suspended 6 games by the NFL. This is going to be the first loss of the season. We do not play Arizona well. The Arizona Cardinals historically own us, and this will be the game where we finally lose a game, and a lot of people are going to say, well, I don't really think Kyler Murray's all that great. I don't think he's that great. I actually think he's very overrated. He should have stuck to playing baseball. But this is the one game where Kyler Murray can win because he has Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz knows the system over there in Philadelphia. He knows how Jalen Hurts plays the game, and he could give pointers to Kyler Murray. He could be like, hey, listen, you got to step it up. He could give pointers to the defense. He could do anything. He could give pointers to who's the coach? Cliff Kingsbury. There's a lot of intellect. There's a lot of intellect in the brain of Zach Ertz because he went to Stanford. He's a very smart guy. So he could give all the information, all the knowledge to that coaching staff, Kyler Murray, how to play the defense. This is the one game where I have the Philadelphia Eagles losing. So they'll start off the season 4-1. No harm, no foul. Still a pretty good record. All right, week 6, Dallas Cowboys come to Philadelphia and play us on Sunday Night Football. All right, so I have a splitting against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Dallas Cowboys, it's weird. The Dallas Cowboys recently have beat us at the Link. The Dallas Cowboys recently have kicked the shit out of us at their home stadium. But when the Eagles come to the Link, we win the game. I think it's going to be backwards this year, and here's the reason why. The Dallas Cowboys are coming into the season trying to make a statement. Dak Prescott's one of the most highest paid quarterbacks in the league. He has Zeke running out of time. He has a ton of weapons to throw to. That offense is always going to be dynamic. And their defense, believe it or not, is pretty decent itself. So I have the Cowboys winning this game. I think they're going to come into the Link. I think they're going to beat us. We're going to be 4-2. And I think Dak Prescott outduels Jalen Hurts in this game. I think I just look back at that one game, week 2, Monday Night Football last year, which I was at. They knew how to contain him. They knew how to contain Jalen Hurts, and I just don't see anything changing. And I feel like it's going to be actually a blowout. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to beat us somewhere in the ballpark of like 31-17 in this game. I don't think it's going to be pretty at all. So we start off the season 4-2. I'm taking a sip of water real quick. All right. Week 7, we have a bye. Then week 8, we face the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. Pittsburgh Steelers just drafted Kenny Pickett, rookie Kenny Pickett, to play against, to be their starting quarterback this year because they don't have anyone else. And they're going to come to Philadelphia. The Pittsburgh Steelers never win in Philadelphia anyway. So I don't remember the last time they actually won in Philadelphia. It's been a long time. We can never win in Pittsburgh. They can never win in Philadelphia. This is a win. I have us winning this game 5-2. I know we're going to have to put up with TJ Watt. He's an absolute beast. He almost broke the sack record last year. Absolute monster. But at the same time, I feel, we have an offensive line that's prime, offensive line that's getting older, but they still know how to play with each other, and they still know how to have that mold where they can give Jalen Hurts enough time to make that dump-off pass or the run that he needs to, and I feel like we win a close game. This game's going to be 24-20 Birds, so I have us at 5-2 to start the season. Then we're at the Houston Texans. That's a win. 6-2 to start the season. I don't really need to explain why. The Houston Texans are just a really bad football team. They got rid of Deshaun Watson. I think David Mills is their quarterback. Yeah, David Mills isn't going to outduel Jalen Hurts. David Mills is bad. So and that's weird for me to say because I just said he's not going to outduel Jalen Hurts. David Mills is bad. So what does that put us at? So we have 6-2 to start the season. We're at 6-2 to start the season. Pretty damn good start. Week 10 against the Washington Commanders. This is the game where Carson Wentz gets his revenge. And it sucks for me to say that, but I just feel he has so much bad blood built up with him when it comes to stepping into the Link at Philadelphia. And like I said, I'm one of Carson's biggest haters of all time. There will be a lot of boos. There will also be a lot of cheers. And I feel he'll use it as motivation. He'll pull out a gem of a game. He'll make people in Philadelphia start second-guessing why we got rid of him. And this will be the game where we ultimately just shit the bed. We play the worst game of the season this game because emotions are so high. And the Washington Commanders come into Philadelphia and beat us. So we are 6-3 to start the season. Still a pretty good start. Week 11 against the Indianapolis Colts at Indianapolis. This is a loss. I feel like our roster is phenomenal. Like I said, our roster is great. But you're going into Indianapolis. You're going against Frank Reich. And Matt Ryan in a dome on turf balls the fuck out. Like, the guy is one of the best quarterback athletes, whatever you want to say, when it comes to playing in a dome. He just is. Besides the Super Bowl where they choked away the 28-3 lead. I just feel this is a game where we get lit up. I feel we get lit up, and especially because we just came off that game against Carson Wentz. Emotions were riding high. This is a game where we don't get our steps back, and we lose back-to-back games. So to start off the season, I have set – where was I at? 6-3. I have set 6-4 to start the season. And then at home, we play the Green Bay Packers. A lot of people are expecting me to pick us to lose this game. Reason why I'm saying we won't. Hear me out on this one. Usually I would agree. I would say Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer. He's going to outduel Jalen Hurts no matter what. He's going to put on a clinic. Who the hell does Aaron Rodgers have to throw to? He has nobody to throw to. He's going to have to do a lot of dump-offs. They got rid of their best wide receiver by far last year. I just don't see how he could come into the Link where he has owned us and just play with fire, especially when it's on Sunday Night Football. Like, I don't see it. Maybe if he just brings something out of his back pocket and throws some trickery plays that completely fool us, maybe. But we also upgraded our linebacker position. We upgraded our front. And we upgraded our cornerback position. We have Bradbury on one side and we have Slay on the other. Our safety, still a bit of a spot, but we can use our pressure to get to Rodgers, make him throw off his back foot. It might not even matter. I'm going to say upset. I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles actually win this game, and it is the biggest win of the season. This is the one game where you wouldn't expect me to call for them, but I think it's the right play, right situation, especially coming off of 2 back-to-back losses, and I feel we win this game. So I have us at 7-4 on the season at that point. Tennessee Titans coming to Philadelphia week 13. Man, are they pissed about losing to A.J. Brown. The coach, Vrabel, pissed about losing A.J. Brown. Mad. Loss. Absolute loss. This may be one of the worst losses of the season. You know, our emotions are riding high coming Sunday Night Football game against the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. We think we could beat everyone as a fan base. The Sports Talk Radio has all the momentum in the world. They're going to say, oh, we're going to win the Super Bowl. We just beat Aaron Rodgers. I can see the writing on the wall right now. We go and play the Tennessee Titans Sunday, 1 o'clock in a cold December, and we lose to Mike Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans because they are pissed. Derrick Henry is probably going to run all over us, and not going to be fun. People seem to forget that Julio Jones is there without competition now. Like, he's their prime number 1 wide receiver. They have to put up with Derrick Henry and Julio Jones, who probably has a year or 2 left. So this is a game where I feel the Tennessee Titans just put it on us, you know, especially because we're not used to playing the AFC. And they just pound us. I feel like the last time we beat Tennessee was what, in 2018? Yeah, 2018 we actually lost to them on the road in Tennessee. So this is one where I feel like we're going to lose and pretty badly. So what did I have set? 7. What did I have set? 7-4. Yeah, I have set 7-4. 7-5. After week 13, we're at 7-5. Week 14 at the Giants. Okay, so this is where I get into it a little bit, and I don't really like to harp on this a little. I don't really like to talk about this too much because the Giants are just a bad football team and a bad organization right now. But the last time Jalen Hurts played there, he threw for 3 interceptions. Now, I was telling my friend the other day, you know, this isn't a team you should lose to. You know, they went for it on 3-9 QB sneak, the last game of the season. The coaching was abysmal. Now, I don't know this new schmuck that they brought in from the Buffalo Bills, but to me, they still don't have the talent to compete with our roster. And it's not like we're that far away from the link. You know, it's right up the turnpike. It's within driving distance there and back. So this is one where I feel Jalen Hurts finally gets his revenge, and he outduels Daniel. What the fuck? I can't even talk. Daniel Jones, and the Eagles move to 8-5 on the season. At the Chicago Bears, I'm going to say win. You know, usually this is one where I feel like it could be a letdown game, but we've had so many letdown games up until this point to where I feel like we could actually have a road blowout win. And Justin Fields, I was actually high on him. I wanted them to draft him. But this is a game where I just feel like our talent outweighs their talent. So I have us winning this game, and I have us at, what is that? 9. What is it? 9-5? 9-5. I have us at 9-5 this far in the season. At the Dallas Cowboys, on Christmas, Christmas Eve, we get our revenge. We win this game. We're 10-5. New Orleans Saints. Is that on the road? That's at home. New Orleans Saints without Peyton, with Jameis Winston. We're gonna want to keep that pick. We're gonna want to make their value diminish in that pick. We'll beat them. And up until this point, what are we? We are 11-5. We're 11-5. And then week 18 against the New York Giants, depending on the situation, we could lose this game. I highly doubt it. The Giants are still very bad. So it's a sweep against the Dallas Giants, 12-5. So I actually have us 12 wins, 5 losses on the season. And again, the wins are Lions, Vikings, Commanders. Jacksonville, that's 4. Not Arizona. Then I have Dallas beating us. I was beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then I have us beating the Houston Texans. And then our next win comes to the Green Bay Packers. Then I have the New York Giants. So that's 8 come week 14. 9 with the Chicago Bears. 10 with the Dallas Cowboys. 11 with the New Orleans Saints, and then 12 with the New York Giants. So yes, I have us at 12-5. 12-5 on the season. I'm going to open up the chat, but a lot of you people probably didn't expect this prediction from me. But listen, I honestly feel like this schedule is in our favor, especially with the quarterbacks we're going against. The one quarterback that I had us beaten that we probably shouldn't beat, especially with our quarterback situation, is Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. But their situation is different. The guy's just getting older. He has no one to throw to. And that's the one guy where I actually have Jalen Hurts playing better against, especially when it's on primetime, Sunday Night Football. But other than that, the schedule is deep into our favor, especially with the roster we have. Now, I'm not going to say we're going to go far in the playoffs. We're probably going to run into Matt Stafford. We're going to run into Brady. We're going to run into quarterbacks that'll actually cock smack the shit out of us. They're quarterbacks, they're gunslingers. Those are guys that can beat you with their arm, and Jalen Hurts can't beat you with his arm. So we'll eventually lose in the playoffs after having a phenomenal regular season, and it'll be another disappointing year. But I have us at 12-5 on the season because I feel like the schedule is very beneficial. Last year, I didn't feel like it was, and this year I do. So 12-5 this year. I will open up the chat. Hold on. Okay, I think I missed some comments. I definitely did, but what are you going to do? I'll actually go back. I'll look at the comments. If you guys liked the stream, if you guys liked this schedule prediction, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. I'll be doing streams 2 to 3 times a week, So be sure to come back to them. I'm gonna go back. Hold on. 14. All right, gotta go over that. All right, what did I? Let me see. Be sure this is lame. So there was a lot of not many great comments in here, to be honest with you. Chuckles asks whose quarterback is better looking. I mean, I didn't really have any options. Hey, what's up, Anthony? How you doing? And you think there's a lot of there's people every day where. So yeah, basically there are a lot of comments in here that are like whatever. But I will go to the comments right now. All right. Will Fly Like an Eagle be returning? No. And the reason why I'm saying this is because number one, my co-host Zomp, I don't know with him. Sometimes he's doing his little nursing gig at the hospital. Sometimes he's off. Sometimes he's tired. Sometimes he's playing with his dog. I don't know where the fuck he is half the time. So that'll be a no. Zach's off doing his other thing. We lost Zach. So at the end of the day, that's pretty much that. So I don't know. Probably not. But I will be doing streams this year. I will be. I just don't think that's coming back. And we had a good thing going. For a while. Kind of broke apart last year because, I didn't really love talking about Jalen Hurts when we didn't have a roster. It was kind of tough. I'm not going to lie. I just don't think he's a good talent. I think he has a lot of lack thereof. And I just feel like this year will be a little bit different, and I won't have to talk about the quarterback as much, especially since we'll have a great running game, and he'll have some talent to check down to. So you won't have to rely on Jalen Hurts as much this year. Like I said, 12-5 this year. I looked at our schedule, and I saw a lot of potential there. Definitely saw it. Here's the thing, though. As much as me and Zomp go at each other, I think he's a very good co-host. I wouldn't pick many people over him, to be honest with you. it's a whole timing thing. It's more along the lines of when we both have time, and I have a lot more time than he does. You know, he's very very busy most of the time, and right after games on Sunday, I'm definitely like this is one thing I will promise to the crowd that watches me. Like on Sunday when I had that adult show, which I will do 2 times a week because I actually had a lot of fun with it. The thing about that stream, and I don't know how I got through it, is when I'm on stream from here on out, I am not going to be that drunk. You know, I'm not going to be that wasted. You guys have to understand. I came from New York. My buddy drove me home from the train station. I felt like getting on stream, just talking to people. You know, especially because the Yankees lost 5-0 that day, and I was like, kind of like not depressed, but like it kind of sucked. So I just felt like talking to people. I drank so much that day; it was ridiculous, and I still got through the stream. That stream was so long and I had so much fun with it that I actually was kind of sober by the end of it. It was so much fun. But no, I if I'm gonna have a co-host, it's gonna be Zomp. By the way, speaking of Zomp, I need to check that Ranger score because Sarah Huckabee one. That's weird. I gotta check that score real quick. All right, so Ranger. Oh, it's 4-1 Ranger. Wow. Okay, but yeah, I would never replace Zomp. I wouldn't do it. It's either I won't do the stream or he's gonna stay, you know, and that's just how it is. You know, he doesn't like the other Philly teams. He bashes on a lot of the Philly teams, and I tell him all the time, I'm like, you're gonna get people to hate you, man. But that's just what he does. But when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, he's like one of the better fans. Like he shows the energy, he brings it all, and you know, it's just one of those things that you know I try to call out on a lot. You know, just because you like other teams doesn't mean you can't like one specific team. And his one specific team is the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Eagles are a global team. It's not, and that's what I don't get about people that say you can only be from Philadelphia or the area or a 4-for-4 fan to like the Philadelphia Eagles. It's not the case. It's just not true. You know, there's people all over the world that like the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, fuck, look at the LA Chargers stadium when we played them in 2017. It was filled with Eagles fans. Like that stadium was literally topped out to capacity with Eagles fans. They're all over the country. They're all over the world. People love misery. People in Philadelphia that were born there, my condolences. I'm sorry, but Philadelphia is kind of a dump. I love the sports there, but I'm not going to go out of my way to like go there and like live. Like it's not something to be proud of. It's not. And I'm sorry if I just hurt people's feelings, but it's the truth. Let me see something. Yeah, he's a great guy, and I would love to bring him on here. You know, me and him, we actually talked about the stream on Sunday night, and he was like, "Yo, I'm just looking out for you, bud. You're saying a lot of personal stuff." And listen, that's just me. You know, YouTube is like my venting system. You know, when I have stuff in my mind that I want to share with the world, or vice versa, that's just what I do. You know, that's why I created that show. That's why that show's here to stay. You know, personal stuff. It's okay to share personal stuff. It is. You know, I don't know people. They don't know me. If I feel like sharing it, I'm going to share it. And he's looking out for me like as a brother, you know, but I'm like, listen, I'm okay. You know, there are a lot of shows out there that talk about the same stuff that I do. You know, it's a lot of them. Like, look at Call Her Dad. You know, granted, that was a great podcast, a great show, but all they did was talk about that stuff. That's all they did. You know, so you could like look out for me all you want, and he's a great friend for doing that. But you know, that's the thing, and that show's here to stay. Now, it's another thing. That's why I put out a poll. I put out a poll this morning asking if people weren't a fan of it, and it's only 17% said they weren't a fan of it. You know, out of 113 people. So that show's here to stay, guys. That show's here to stay. Thoughts on the NBA playoffs right now, and who do you have making the finals? I mean, I have the Celtics making the finals against the Golden State Warriors. I actually have the Boston Celtics winning the championship. The reason why, and it's shocking to hear that and shocking to say that, because Golden State looks unstoppable. But you guys have to understand something. Golden State has not played a defensive team like the Boston Celtics since Toronto in 2019. So that's why I think they lose. I feel like when they have a ton of diversity, well, yeah, when they have a ton of adversity to go against when it comes to playing defense. Well, going against great defenses, they don't play well because they're a jump shooting team. Defenses know how to cover that shit. So I feel like when they go up against a team like the Boston Celtics, they're going to lose their mojo, and the Celtics will win that series in 6 games. That's just my opinion. Rewatched your other stream that night. That one guy was personal. Yeah, it's a guy that Zomp knows. Like he said he's in a group chat with him, and he says he knows him. And he said he's straight as an arrow, and I'm like, all right, well, if he's straight as an arrow, he wouldn't be asking that stuff because it doesn't really make sense, But listen, I don't care if people get personal. That's what that show's all about. That's what that show's all about. At the end of the day. Zomp is entertaining, but 90% of his Twitter is Sixers and Flyers slander, mainly slandering Carter Hart, Joel Embiid, and James Harden. Yeah, I mean, let me actually text that to him right now. I'm going to send that. I'm going to send that to Zomp because, hold on. I'm going to take a picture of that. All right, I'm going to send this to Zomp because he needs to see. Maybe he'll come in here, maybe he won't. But he needs to see what one of the viewers has said. So there you go. I sent it to him, and we'll see what he says about that. Yeah, he is a good guy. Avalanche versus Lightning Stanley Cup final. I think the winner of the Rags-Kane series against the Avalanche, and I have the Avalanche winning, but the winner of the Canes versus Rangers series, I have going to the Cup final. I think the Lightning played a great series against the Florida Panthers, but they played a perfect series. How many times are you going to play a perfect series like that? Everything went their way, So I just feel like it's a series, the series next week or wherever it takes place, the Lightning will be off for a while. They'll be rusty. The Rangers and the Canes will be ready to go, and I just feel like they hit them in the mouth. And whoever wins that series, whoever wins the Rags and Kane series, moves on to the final. Let me see. How'd you end up being cool with Badno? I mean, I just did. It's one of those things. Me and him went back and forth trash talking, and then he kind of just like went a different way with his content. He used to be one of the premier trash talkers on YouTube, and then he just started doing streams, which came out of nowhere, honestly, but he started doing streams, building a lot of revenue from that. He talks to Chris Entertainer, and they have a good thing going. So it's a good thing that they're doing. It's a completely different path, and it's a more successful path for him because he's bringing in a lot of revenue, him and Chris as well. So it's a change he had to make. He's late into his 40s. It's a change he had to make. He can't really act like a kid anymore. So that's just how life goes. Sometimes you just know when to grow up, and he's making a lot of money doing what he's doing. So, that's why people do it sometimes. People need to make it. People want to get big in money. People want to own that yacht eventually. So you got to start somewhere. Let me see. Why does Jalen Hurts own us? I mean, you have to ask him. Sorry, guys. Let me see something. Stay keen. That's for the other show. I'm not going to answer any personal questions or anything off topic in this stream. This stream is for all my viewers. The stream on Sunday that I'll have twice a week is for an 18+ crowd. That's just something that I've chosen I wanted to do. I'm going to put it in the description, 18+. But when it comes to questions like that, it's a good question, but I don't answer questions like that in streams like this one, especially when it's a schedule predictions stream, because there's some people in my crowd that don't want to hear that stuff, So this stream's for everybody, Who do you think will win the rematch between Juliana Pena and Nunes? Pena is probably the worst fighter Amanda Nunes could get matched up with. Pena didn't face off against Amanda Nunes until she beat her. And a lot of people think that Amanda's going to take her head off because she's so angry. Well, a lot of people need to understand this because I'm a huge mind when it comes to mixed martial arts. In mixed martial arts, when someone's in your head, they're in your head. Juliana Pena has the striking to go back and forth with Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes has that knockout power, but you also have to realize Amanda Nunes was holding 2 belts at the time she got beat by Juliana Pena. She was holding 2 belts. She had 2 workloads. After she loses to Juliana Pena, she's only going to have 1 workload. They're fighting for the same title she just lost. She'll still be the featherweight champion of the world. So that's nothing to hang your head on. Maybe she'll retire after that. And so I actually have Pena winning that rematch. Thoughts on Donaldson Anderson? No, not much. I heard back in 2019 he caught him it the first time. I don't think much of it. The only thing that caught me blindsided was I was listening to the Carton and Roberts show today. Great show, by the way, on WFAN. I was listening to them, and apparently Josh Donaldson's one of the least liked MLB players around the country. There's none of his teammates like him. So I can't really make anything of the Tim Anderson aspect of it. But when I hear that, I mean, it's just something you have to think about. What if the Rangers win the Cup this year? They won't. They won't win the Cup this year. But they'll get far. And they're already far, honestly. But they're not going to beat the Avs. Someone in the stream the other night said Carson Wentz is gun shy. What does it mean? It means he – when you go out to throw a pass and you see something there but you don't want to throw it because you don't want to make that risk, he pulls it back in, holds on to it, and takes the sack. That's what he meant by that, I think. Judge didn't exactly stick up for Donald. No, he didn't. He actually said – Judge said that what Donaldson did was not right. And when you're clicking like that, when you're the best team in baseball, that's not exactly what you want your future captain to talk about. That's not what you want your future captain to say when you're teammates. So I agree with that. He said I blocked him on the chat. I didn't block Zomp on the chat. What do I think the Sixers need to do this offseason? I feel like they need to add one more star, and they need to shoe up their bench. They need to get a bench. Without a bench, you got nothing, especially with the amount of ISO players we have on this team. So you definitely need to shoe it up. Okay. Got the Giants going 6-11. Yeah, Brian Daboll was the guy I was thinking of. Super Bowl predictions. All right, since it's Brady's last year, I will go Tampa Bay. Well, and then I think he's going to move on to San Fran, where he was born. But I'll go Tampa Bay versus Kansas City. I think getting rid of Tyreek Hill kind of sucks. But at the same time, Patrick Mahomes played so many abysmal games last year. He's definitely on that field right now practicing, 110%. That guy is going to be back to what he was before. And I think him finally getting married to that psycho is going to put some things away. He had a kid, and sometimes when you have a kid, you deal with a lot of emotions. He's going to be back to where he was last year. So I'm going to say it's going to be a rematch of 2 years ago, Kansas City versus Tampa Bay. Is Zomp a rat? That is one thing he is not as a rat. He'll tell you like it is. I would create a package involving Tobias and Matisse to go after Levine, Beal. It'll attract some vet minimum bench pieces. Big threes attract. It's true. I mean, I just don't feel like there are players that are willingly going to want to come to Philadelphia. I just don't. It's the city. It's just the way of life. We have 6 titles in 120 years. It's going to have to be a really attractive landing spot for people to come here. And right now, we're not attractive right now. So gunshot means he's afraid to get hit. I'm Washington fan, so I'm curious. I mean, that's something you're gonna have to put up with, and you're gonna see. Um, I'm not a fan of Carson Wentz, so I'm telling you every negative I know about him. There's very little positives in this game. Thoughts on Luka? Absolute beast. I love Luka Doncic. With Washington, Adam Wentz, which team in the division do you want to sweep the most this year? I mean, I, I feel like I want to sweep the Cowboys. That's who I want to sweep because we never sweep the Cowboys. They either sweep us or we win one out of two. We never sweep the Cowboys. So that's the team I want to sweep. I don't hate the Cowboys the most. I hate the Giants the most because of their fans, but I want to sweep the Cowboys this year. That's the one team I would really love to sweep in the division. Thoughts on the Raiders? Mediocre. Let's be real. They're a very mediocre squad. Are the Yankees losing? Whoa. Wow. Good thing I wasn't watching that game. They want Jones to be great. So the Pens choking a 3-1 lead. It's not shocking to me. Not shocking to me. If we give Harden a supermax, I'm going to start to get pissed at Morey. I want Harden back, but I'm not giving him 55 a year. Well, right now he's making 44 a year, so he's not going anywhere because he's gonna opt into that 1 year deal. So he's gonna at least have 1 year left with us. We'll see where it goes. But I think James Harden's the kind of guy, or maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just speaking out of my ass, but maybe he's that guy that realizes the situation and maybe he wants to win a title. So he'll want to add one more max player. Oh, we'll see. I could be completely wrong. I could be. Why do I hate Carson so much and inside as a Commanders fan? Well, a lot of it has to do with the Eagles fan base. They made me kind of despise them. They brought out all the negatives and no positives in them. For me, anyway. The guy, like you said, is gun shy. He's taken so many sacks. He fumbles the ball too much. He's a quitter. He quit on us. Once Jalen Hurts came into that Green Bay game, Jalen Hurts completely lit it up. And Jalen Hurts isn't a good quarterback. Carson Wentz he was abysmal. And he was a huge quitter. Once he got the injury, it's like, why'd you even come back at that point? His game was completely flawed. And in my opinion, he's a weird guy. Thoughts on the Dolphins and Broncos? The Dolphins have Tyreek Hill, but they have Tua. Tua kind of stinks, so I don't know much about them yet. But I'm gonna say they'll probably be like a 9-8 win team. Broncos, Russell Wilson, they'll be better. Why is Wentz a bad guy? I don't know why he is. I think you meant to ask how is he a bad guy. To me, it's just listen. I'm a huge when I was in school, I studied psych. Not like I needed to study it because I could read pretty much anything or anyone because I'm a poker player, obviously. It's just very, to me, I know if a person dislikes me or likes me right off the bat, most of the time, like 85% of the time. And everything I've studied off of Wentz, it's just his body language, the fact that he says he loves Jesus, he praises Jesus, he's a great follower of God. And then he goes and shoots an innocent deer. And he has a big smile on his face. That has kind of the look and read of a sociopath on it. So that's just my opinion. But I just never really liked the guy. Also, the Wentz Colts seem to hate Nick Foles. Yeah, that part I don't get. Nick Foles, even if you didn't like the way that Carson Wentz didn't win it for us and you wanted him to win it for us, I don't know how anyone could despise Nick Foles. Nick Foles is the type of guy that, back in 2013 when he had the 27 touchdown, 2 interception season, that was a guy that you could have put up there for an MVP conversation, and those stats were unreal. And people seem to forget that year, Michael Vick was the starter for that team, and Nick Foles brought us to the playoffs. Nick Foles isn't a quarterback that stinks and then just found gold. No, he's played some pretty bad games, but at the end of the day, and I always tell people this is why I love Nick Foles. Nick Foles could look goofy. Nick Foles could have really abysmal plays. He could have really bad turnovers. He could lead the league in turnovers. When it comes crunch time, when he's in the moment, he is one of the best players. Yes, players I have ever seen do it. You go back to that Saints game where we lost. Both of them left the field with the lead against the Saints in the freezing cold in 2013. Our defense couldn't stop them. Kerry Williams with the horse collar. That was all she wrote. And then back when Alshon Jeffrey dropped the ball. I keep telling my friends this all the time, and this is why it bothers me. If Alshon Jeffrey catches that ball, we're 3rd and short. The clock was running. It would have been the 2-minute warning, and the 2-minute warning would have passed already, so that's less time that would have stopped on the other end of the field when the New Orleans Saints only had 2 timeouts. It would have been a picture-perfect ending. And we probably would have went back-to-back, in my opinion, because the Rams weren't that good, and the Patriots scored, 13 points in that Super Bowl? So I feel like the Eagles would have went back-to-back. So it kind of makes me sad at the end of the day when I hear about this stuff, hear about this shit. It would have been absolutely picture-perfect. It would have been 3rd and, 2, and then we would have converted either there or on 4th down. Preferably ran it, made it 4th and 1, wind the clock, make them burn a timeout, and then get it on 4th down. Set up 1st and goal. We score a touchdown. We give them 20 seconds left to do nothing with no timeouts. They're not getting in field goal range. They're too far away. We would have definitely won that game. I replay that moment in that scenario time and time again. The math was perfect for us. The scenario was perfect for us in that game, and Alshon Jeffrey blew it. But you know what? I can't give him too much fault because Alshon Jeffrey is also a Super Bowl hero. So it kind of cancels out with him, but I would take the Super Bowl any day of the week than no Super Bowl. I just will. So I can't despise or hate on Alshon Jeffrey, but I'm just saying I look back at that moment, and yes, I feel like we would have went back-to-back, even though Brandon Brooks went down and even though Fletcher Cox went down. I just feel like it would have been still on cloud 9, and we would have went back-to-back and had 2 Vince Lombardi trophies. So, yeah, I played again in my head over and over and over again, that scenario, that situation, that play, why we rushed before the 2-minute warning. I understand all of it. It just didn't work out. It didn't work out, and it sucks. But it is what it is. Thoughts on Foles joining the Colts? I will always root and support Nick Foles. And a lot of people are going to say, why don't you root and support Carson Wentz? Carson Wentz didn't help us win the Super Bowl. He helped set up us to get in a good position, as the number 1 seed. But Donovan McNabb did that 4 times. Donovan McNabb did that the year we lost in the vet, the last year. He did that versus Carolina, and then he did it against the Atlanta Falcons, 3 straight years, number 1 seed at home. He did that. But what did he do after that? He did nada. He didn't win. So how are you going to tell me that Carson Wentz set us up for home field, and then he's automatically going to go to the Super Bowl and outshine and completely go against and outbattle Tom Brady in that game the same way that Nick Foles did? You just can't say that. That's why I give Nick Foles all the props and credit. It's easy to say the guy set us up and gave us the number 1 seed, but some players have what it takes to win in big spots, and others don't. And as you're seeing it right now, Carson Wentz isn't a big game player. So it's actually, it kind of sounds fucked up saying this, but Carson Wentz going down was actually what we needed to win that title, because Nick Foles was always that big game player. Always was. Against the Atlanta Falcons, I'll never forget it. He had that one ball, was right in the chest. Right in the chest of, I think, Neal. It bounced off of his chest, and then Torrey Smith catches it. That was an omen, and that was a sign that God was definitely helping us out to win that title, and Nick Foles made the perfect plays in the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl to win it. He set up Foles, the guy above, set up Foles to win, and he delivered. Carson Wentz, what would have happened to Carson Wentz? Carson Wentz would have went to that Atlanta game, and he would have played perfectly. up until the last drive, boom, interception, game over. That's what he would have done, in my opinion. But I just don't like to talk about it anymore because history is history, and there's a statue of Nick Foles and Doug, and there isn't a Carson Wentz statue. So that's pretty much all I say about that. Yeah, it was meant to be. Meant to be. You know, are we ever going to win again? Probably not. But it was definitely meant to be. And Zomp just texted me, said I'm the dumbest human being ever alive. I just explained. Listen, I just explained why I think Nick Foles is the best player in Philadelphia Eagles franchise history. Not the most skilled, the best. You know, I think the most skilled, obviously, is Reggie Brown. You know, Reggie Brown, Brian Dawkins, Brian Westbrook, the most skilled, Terrell Owens. But the best was Nick Foles. Like, he should have his jersey retired. He should have his jersey retired this season or whenever he retires from the game of football. And he will. No one's ever going to wear 9 again. Ever. Of course they didn't. Okay. Yeah, not Reggie Brown. Reggie White. Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm going a million miles an hour. Reggie White, not Reggie Brown. Reggie Brown was a wide receiver for us. He was, he wasn't, in my opinion, he wasn't trash. Like, he was better than Todd Pinkston, but, you know, yeah, it's definitely different. It's a mess up. Why does Romp hate Foles? I think it means Zomp. He hates him because I love him. Like, he always goes out my neck. Always, no matter what. If I say black, he says white. If I say brown, he says red. It's just how it is. You know, he's a troll. You know, but he did love Carson Wentz. He actually got his jersey. He doesn't get jerseys of anybody. Anybody. And he got Carson Wentz's jersey. I tell him all the time, rip off that nameplate, put on Brown, and you're good to go. Reggie Brown. I'm not gonna go as far as say he was a scrub wide receiver. He was adequate at best. He was mediocre. You know, chances of the Bills winning the Super Bowl 0. And I'm not saying that because they're not skilled. They're a very skilled football team. But you're talking about a franchise that went to 4 straight Super Bowls and didn't win one. Didn't even compete. Actually, they competed in one. One was a missed field goal to the left against the Giants. But they went to 4 straight Super Bowls and didn't win one of them. Like, that's really bad omen. Like, that's bad. Remember when Zomp called Bradford elite? I actually do remember that. And here's the thing. And I don't usually back him up when it comes to stuff like this. But if Bradford wasn't riddled with injuries throughout his career, he was actually one of the more elite passers I saw when it came to short distance passes and accuracy when it was down the field. You know, he could have actually been a pretty decent player, but injuries just killed him, especially with the Rams. They destroyed his career, but he was very accurate. How do I think Rutgers is going to do this season? It sucks for me to say this, Anthony. You know, I thought they would have done well if the NCAA didn't pass that rule where players can make money off of playing college football because the recruiting was going in our favor. Rutgers can't afford to play these players. Like, they can't afford it. Like, Texas A&M's buying everybody, and they're taking them away from Alabama, which I love. But at the end of the day, it just sucks because teams like Rutgers have no shot now. It's like, why do we even move to the Big Ten? They have no shot now. We can't afford these players. It sucks. But maybe they'll have a decent season. Will the Bengals be good again? Yeah, probably. I mean, Joey Burrow is phenomenal. Do I think the Celtics win in 6? Yeah, I do. I think they're the much better team. Bro saying a team can't win a Super Bowl because they lost 4 of them is not. It's not. Think about it. I mean, don't you believe in faith? Don't you believe in karma? Don't you believe in omens? You lose 4 straight. I mean, just think about it. Think about it. Those Bills teams were much better than this Bill team. Much better. Like, look at Minnesota. They lost 4 straight NFC Championship games. Then they had that Minnesota miracle against the Saints, came to our house and got the dog shit kicked out of them by a backup quarterback. Like, some teams are just not meant to win it no matter what. It's just how it is. I'm a true believer in that. Is Lamar Jackson a fluke? Big time. I think we go 7-5. My hope is that they give Winston a chance to win the starting job. They just can't give. I'm not a Verdal fan. If they give it to Verdal, they're just giving up on the season. They need to go with the more skilled player. They can't just keep waiting and waiting and waiting. They just got to give the guy who has more accolades just take the job and just run with it. They need to do that. I still remember back in like 2008, 2009, they gave the starting job to Tom Savage. It was the right move. He was a true freshman, and he had great accolades, and he eventually transferred to Pittsburgh, I believe, and became the Texans' starting quarterback, which is great. He had all the accolades. He just didn't flourish with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. He got played too early, and he saw the lights, and he didn't like the lights. So he was a guy that just didn't produce, but it was the right move. It was the right move to start him because he had all the accolades. He had the guy, he had everything it had to physically take over as a college football quarterback, as a true freshman. He had all the skill, and he just didn't show up. Not to be that guy, but it's pronounced Vidral. Yeah, I mean, listen, it is what it is. You go there, so you would know everything like that. But I've been supporting since 2003. My first ever Rutgers game, they played Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech was ranked 21 that game. I don't know how I remember that, but they just kicked the shit out of us. We got to the stadium late, and they were winning like 41-20. It wasn't even a game. Last great quarterback was Teal. I wouldn't say great, but he was definitely good. I liked Gary Nova at first. He played at Don Bosco, but then he just fell off completely. But yeah, Teal was a good one. Teal led us to all of those ranked wins against Louisville and South Florida. So he was definitely a good college football player, but he would never succeed in the NFL. Yeah, he had Ray Rice. He had Brian Leonard. Obviously you have Jeremy Ito, the kicker. He's not that great, but he had a clutch kick. You had some names. You had Tyquan Underwood. You had both McCourty twins. That team was loaded. Absolutely loaded. I think if they didn't lose to Cincinnati, who Brent Selleck was on that year, if they didn't lose to Cincinnati that year, they would have actually won the championship. Because if you look at their schedule, they didn't really have to get through much more. And it's a shame. We ended up losing to West Virginia, giving us the second loss of our season, and we played in the Texas Bowl, and then we won that game. But it was kind of a lackluster ender because we never beat West Virginia, ever. It sucked. We had everybody. We had literally everybody on that team. Yeah, I was there too. I ran on the field. It was a 57-yard attempt, midfield, and we won by a point, I believe. But yeah, I mean, wouldn't mind bringing back Foles. Back up to, yeah, here's the thing. In 2016, we were just ready to go. We were ready to go. I mean, Carson Wentz at that point in time was the third stringer on our team. We had Bradford starting, Chase Daniel, the second string, and Carson Wentz was our third stringer. That changed really quick. And then it's a shame because Carson Wentz just completely balled out right off the gate. Once Lane Johnson got suspended for the 10 games, honestly, I feel like that's where it went downhill for him. Because if Carson Wentz never got hurt, he had potential to be one of the better quarterbacks, not only recently, but of all time. And that's what sucks. That's what sucks about being a Philadelphia Eagles fan. I truly believe there is that stigma above us. I feel like there's that curse. I was telling Zomp in 2016 when he made this play to Darren Sproles on the sideline against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I was like, this guy's a fucking stud because he just hopped in the air and just threw it like it was nothing. It was like, how hard of a play that is as a quarterback? That's ridiculous. Quarterbacks do not make that play. And this guy was doing it as a rookie. That guy could have been an all-time great, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out for him. And like I tell my friend all the time, when some players get injured, especially to that extent, they never come back. And he's a prime example of that. He tried, and he just didn't. He never came back. Like, it's a mind thing to him now. But he was a great. Carson Wentz would have been a great. He definitely would have. My dad is a Rutgers alum and Eagles fan who watched McMahon on both Rutgers and Eagles, and he despises him probably just as much as you do. I despise Ryan McMahon. It was the first ever Eagles game I ever went to. It was New Year's Day. January 1st, 2006. We played the Washington Redskins at that time. It was the game where Sean Taylor got the fumble when Coy Detmer fumbled the ball away because Ryan McMahon injured himself that game. So it was Detmer. He fumbled the ball. Sean Taylor takes it back for a pick six, and that was all she wrote. That was the one of Sean Taylor's last games, actually. And the Washington Redskins at the time went to the playoffs. It's crazy how much I remember about sports, especially in my younger years. You know, it's tough watching sports nowadays because there's just so much in the world going on. But back then, I was a sports nut. I was an absolute sports nut. Yeah, Mike McMahon. What did I say? I said Ryan McMahon. It's someone I went to high school with. Yeah, I met Mike McMahon. But I used to remember so much about sports in my younger years. I really did. That's all I cared about. All I cared about were sports. Now it's like you got school shootings going on and world leaders acting like they're 12 years old. It's just it's wacky, man. It's really wacky the world we live in. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's a new world. What's your record for the Eagles? I have 12-5. I went down the prediction, and 5 losses were pretty self-explanatory because I feel like Jalen Hurts will be the X factor in us losing those games. I remember everything. Like I remember timestamps. I remember where I was. I just remember so much when it comes to sports in every sport when I was younger. If there were a talk radio based off of sports in my younger days, I'd be one of the better minds in the country based off of what I know. But the newer sports, it's just like, I think my priorities changed a little bit, especially when I started gambling in 2013 when I realized that the games may or may not be rigged. It kind of changed my perspective on things. But I don't know. When I was younger, I just knew a lot more. I remember a lot more. Politics again. It's a shame, and it's only going to get worse. Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect us having that. I didn't expect me giving that prediction before the schedule show, but the schedule is in our favor. It really is. We don't play too many great quarterbacks. We have a better roster than most of the teams we play. We benefit from DeAndre Hopkins not playing in that Week 5 game against the Arizona Cardinals, which I actually have us losing, but we could very well win. It's just a very favorable schedule it's a very favorable schedule. It just really is. It's like a last place schedule, honestly. But guys, I'm gonna get off of here. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. And tomorrow night, I'll be doing my second late night with Nitro. It is an adult show. It is 18 plus. I'm not going to age restrict it because I can't. I mean, I'm not a huge super chat guy or whatever, but no one can even leave a super chat, so I can't age restrict it. I'll just put in the description. It's 18 plus, and there's explicit material in it. Because I do realize that some of the people that watch my channel are younger, so I do have to look out for that. And so I'll put in the description, it's an adult show, and that'll be that. Because I don't want too young of a kid to be watching the stuff and then hearing something they shouldn't be hearing. So I'm definitely going to look out for that and do that as a disclaimer every single show. Cool if I ask a psychological, yeah. On that adult show, you could ask whatever you want. I'll answer. I mean, there were a lot of questions on Sunday that had my friend Zomp literally audio text me and say, I don't think you should be saying that on the show. And I'm like, that is the point of the show. So it is what it is. But I'll be doing those 2 times a week. And you could ask whatever you want on other shows. That's why I do them. I honestly feel if Foles was never injured versus the Texans, we would have went 13-3. Was that the year we were 7-2 and he led the league in turnovers? I feel like that that's the year you're talking about. Pretty sure. But with that said, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna try to get some sleep. Maybe watch the other hockey game. I don't know. But until then, till tomorrow night, about 10:30, 11-ish, I'll be on for about an hour and a half, and we'll see how things go. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. I have us at 12-5 and ultimately losing early in the playoffs. So I'm out of here. Peace, guys. Go Birds. 12-5.